So it's October 2025 and you're still wondering, is the Osmo Pocket 3 overrated? Like, is it just all hype? And the answer is no. Now, I'm fully aware that because of the tariffs, the prices of the Osmo Pocket 3 have been raised, but I gotta tell you, it doesn't really matter. But at the same time, if you're a content creator, this is the ultimate content creation making machine. And in this video, I'm gonna show you why. One of the best features of the Osmo Pocket is that low profile. I was actually watching the behind the scenes for some photo shoot or something like that. And in order to get a shot like this, where the camera is behind the ceiling fan, they had to physically remove the ceiling from the room in order to do so. Maybe your ceiling fan drops off the ceiling a little bit more, so that's not a problem. But the thing is, the lower the profile, the more places this camera can go, the more potential you have to find new ways to be creative when essentially you're shooting the same space. Even if I wanted to pull this same shot off with my Sony camera, I wouldn't have enough clearance to be able to fit the camera in that space. Now, with that said, one of the genius things that DJI did was it gave it that full 180-degree articulation. So if you're in a situation like this where you really can't get your hands in there to reach the joystick for some reason, maybe you don't have your phone so you can't use the app, you can rotate the camera so that you always have the controls in front of you. And maybe this is a more extreme situation that you're not going to find yourself in every single day, but presumably, once you start using the Osmo Pocket 3, you're going to make so much more content that you're going to start kind of exhausting your ideas, and you're going to want to expand a little bit. This was the thing that sold me. I saw a video of someone using the Osmo Pocket in public. Wireless microphone. Get one for your phone. That's probably a thing now, but at the time I just didn't see a lot of people using wireless mics. The audio quality of the Mic Mini is incredible, and the Mic 2 is probably even better. I don't know, but the point is that it's one small piece. Like, there's no additional module. There's nothing you're plugging into it. The transmitter's built inside. You just connect it wirelessly through Bluetooth, and you got great audio. You can feel comfortable setting up your Osmo wherever you are. You get to use your microphone as a remote, and you're just carrying less. And I think when it comes down to it, the thing that's going to prevent you from using your gear is it being difficult, cumbersome, heavy, just not an enjoyable experience. And this is quite pleasant. I will say that a lot of people will probably be afraid to do this, and they'll never really get all that the Osmo has to offer because of it. But if you're still apprehensive about vlogging in public, I understand. I'm a little gun shy too sometimes, but having this setup, it pushes me to feel a little bit more comfortable. Like, I started vlogging 10 years ago. The tools just weren't there to make it easy. Like, you had to be ostentatious. You had to have the camera set up if you wanted a good image. You had to, really be front and center, and it wasn't as socially acceptable. Now the tools are everywhere. It's way more socially acceptable, and it's just easier than it's ever been. With the Osmo Pocket 3, because it's so small, such a low profile, small footprint, you can do these things way faster than you can with a traditional camera. No big tripods, no big setup. I just set it on a ledge, hit record, and I'm up and running. Now, if you're like me, you're used to making long form content, but with the advent of TikTok and now YouTube Shorts, they're really encouraging us to make short form content. And it's kind of tough for me. The idea of turning my camera the other way it's just different. It's just not what I'm used to. I've been making videos for a long time, but I haven't done it this way. Now, if you're using one of the bigger cameras, full frames, mirrorless and things like that, they're talking about open gate, which basically will allow you to more easily reframe your images from what you're currently filming in landscape and making it vertical. And the Osmo Pocket 3 is a 1-inch sensor. It can't do that, but what it can do is something very similar. You can change the camera from landscape to vertical mode in a couple of different ways. Not only can you easily change it from landscape to vertical by doing this, or simply doing this, there will be times when you're going to be unable to do that. And while you can't change it from landscape to vertical mode through the app,
You can change it to 3K 1:1 mode, which is similar. The fact that it's this easy makes it so much easier for someone like myself who really doesn't want to do short form to kind of start getting his feet wet. Can I be honest? This video was actually prompted by someone saying that the Osmo Pocket 3 is an overhyped camera that's only good for filming in the car, which is absurd to me. But that's kind of a perfect place to pick up, because with the Osmo Pocket 3, you have so many more mounting positions for a camera than you would with a traditional camera. And to be clear, this is never to disparage using a phone, because I do think using a phone is an incredible way to make content. It's probably the best camera for most people. It's probably the most popular camera, and I still use mine to this day. Biggest thing for me is simply the storage. I just know that, when I'm filming videos, I'm filming 20-minute videos, 30-minute videos. I film pretty much every day. I take pictures in my personal life. It doesn't work for me to not have a separate device. I like to have a separate device. I like the ability to, have a camera that does a little bit more than the phone does. But yeah, the phone is kind of great. But I will say the flat edge that the camera has is kind of perfect for setting it down if you're in a situation where it's like, it's not going to be disturbed, but you don't have a tripod on you. That is something that you really can't do comfortably with a phone. Yes, phones are a little bit thicker these days, so you probably could set it flat. But the thing is, you can't get a tilt. Whereas with the Osmo Pocket 3, you can set it down flat, and then you still have the tilting ability of the camera because it's separate from the actual base. That aside, can I be honest? Where are most people filming their videos? The idea that filming in the car is not enough, when so many people are making videos right in their car, or they're sitting at the same desk every single day, or they're in the same office every single day. This idea that you need to have a device that does all of these things, despite the fact that you in reality are probably going to use it in very few limited scenarios, your brain is like, well, I'm only a beginner. But for some reason, we all do this thing where we're like, well, what if one day I'm a pro? I should just get the pro thing now, just in case. If you get to the point where you're a pro, you will have gone through so many different maturations that you'll be fine. You'll have what you need by then. Like, you're not even going to probably want the tool that you're being sold right now, because you'll know exactly what you need when that day comes. The Osmo Pocket 3 is good enough for making content right now. Now, one of the biggest weaknesses with this camera is, in fact, the gimbal. Despite the fact that it helps you to get those really smooth, steady shots, it's very temperamental. Like, you can easily bump it, you can easily break it if you're not careful. So I totally understand that being a concern. But at the same time, it's also one of its greatest strengths. Not only are you able to adjust the pan and tilt from the app electronically so you don't have to touch the camera, but one of the biggest frustrations I have, especially when I'm trying to move really quickly, is I'll set the camera up, maybe I have it on a monopod, and it's not quite balanced. The camera will level out your horizon to make sure your image is even. This is such a huge feature, because if you were using a tripod, you'd be sitting there staring at the little bubble level trying to make sure your tripod is even. This saves you so much time and allows you to get back to filming. So it's been pretty rainy out here lately. And I guess one of the things that you could say about the Osmo Pocket is that, it's not waterproof. And that's true. It's not. There's always something, right? There's always some excuse. There's always something that makes any tool not perfect. But, when you start using it, you start to get creative, because you're not focused on the things that it can't do, and you just focus on what it can. It's just been a constant week of rain. And rather than letting that stop me from finishing this video, I just grabbed a piece of aluminum foil and I wrapped it around the camera. It's so light. And, I forgot to bring my tripod, but I have a magnet on me. Oh, that just proved it, right? I'm underneath this awning, so maybe this will be a little bit better. But I also forgot my tripod. And, I keep a magnet on me just in case. And it turns out there's kind of metal everywhere. So, 2 excuses down and we're still up and running. And I think that if you're looking for excuses, they're going to be out there. There's always going to be some reason why it's just not right. It's just not perfect. It's not as good as this. It's not as good as that. But what I want you to remember is that what makes this camera the best isn't that it's got the best specs. It's that it's the camera that you're always going to have because it's small. It's the camera that's always convenient because it fits everywhere. It's the camera that is always ready to go, and because of that, you're going to use it more than any other camera you could possibly have. That's of course other than your phone. Now it is getting a little bit chilly, so let's get back home. Now, if you're on the fence and you're thinking about maybe getting a bigger camera, I think this is a very interesting time, because what I'm seeing now in terms of content creation, stuff that's posted, things are going viral, is that image quality now means less than it ever has. Like, there used to be a time when you wanted the highest resolution image possible, but nowadays I'm seeing so many more people going back to their phone because there's just something about that more raw footage. And constantly looking for the 6K and the 8K and the 12K, that just doesn't have the same cachet that it used to have. Having a camera that outputs high quality footage that's just a little bit better than your phone may actually be in your best interest. So this is my full vlogging kit, and included are a magic arm, a small tripod, and an extra battery, as well as a microphone. And, honestly, I never really dig in here. Like, I keep it simple, but I just carry the bag because it's so small and convenient. One thing that I did purchase for the Osmo Pocket 3 that I never used is this battery grip. And to be honest, the only time I've ever actually used it is to elevate the camera when I had it on the mini tripod. The Osmo Pocket can record for about 2 hours on a full charge, and it has a USB-C plug built right in, so I don't really ever feel the need to use an external battery. The thing I love about my entire package fitting inside of this small bag is that it's inconspicuous. I never get hassled. I can take this thing into any major sporting arena. No one ever says anything because the camera's unassuming. They don't know what kind of image I'm going to be able to produce with it. And honestly, I don't think anyone has ever actually asked me what it is. They just, run me through the metal detectors. I have a bag, whatever. Whereas if you bring your FX3 or whatever bigger camera you have, you might have a few more questions to answer. These days, they're definitely starting to be more relaxed with that sort of thing, but it's an additional hassle that I would like to avoid at all costs if possible. One thing I'll add that you may not be considering, if you're comparing the Osmo Pocket to, say, a real camera, I shoot on a Sony ZV-E10, which is a crop sensor camera, doesn't do anything super crazy, but the file sizes of a 4-minute file. A 4-minute 4K file on the Sony ZV-E10 is about 4 gigabytes. However, a 4-minute 4K file on the Osmo Pocket is about half that, at 2 gigabytes. And after you're done with your edit, you're going to be wondering, should I keep it around? Should I toss it out? Or maybe you haven't gotten a moment to sit down and actually do your post-processing. The less space the files that you record take up, the better off you're going to be. And we're just comparing crop sensor cameras. Some folks are using 6K, 8K cameras that the file sizes are going to be much larger. And now you're going to start having to talk about real storage solutions for your content. I know a lot of people are bummed that the price went up. I think when I purchased mine, it was maybe $549. I didn't get the creator combo because I don't feel like you need it. I feel like you can piece together what you need. If I'm being honest, when I first saw the price of the Osmo Pocket and then I saw some of those first images, my first reaction was, this camera should have been more expensive. There's nothing else like the Osmo Pocket on the market other than the prior generations of the Osmo Pocket. And because of that, it's uniquely positioned to address the needs of content creators at even $1,000. Unfortunately, it hasn't gone up that high, and hopefully there's going to be some sales coming up as we approach the holidays, but maybe not. Of course, there's better cameras at different specific things, but there is no camera on the market like the DJI Osmo Pocket. And even if the Osmo Pocket 4 were to come out tomorrow, I don't think it would change that. And while I don't know this to be true, I feel like they'll probably just make the new one more expensive so they can keep the price of the current generation the same. They got it right in 2022, and nothing has changed. The DJI Osmo Pocket 3 is absolutely still the king of content.